Be Taco Tuesday, but with bourbon instead. We're going to be talking, as you can see, our little buddy Marty Whiskey Nose has been kind enough to join us tonight for a little kickoff to the MLB season, considering the Dodgers and Cubs played, I don't know, whatever time it was this morning, 3 a.m. or something like that. I caught I think it's from the 8th to the 9th inning. So I caught a little bit of it. So I felt pretty good about that. But as a Brewers fan, anytime the Cubs lose, I'm good with that, even though I can never really root for the Dodgers, So yeah, we'll be talking a little basketball and some baseball and sipping on some bourbon, some things that maybe we've been enjoying here in the last whatever day, weeks, whatever it may be. So appreciate you joining tonight. So looking forward to it. So welcome, Mr. Whiskey Nose. How you doing, Marty?
Hey, man. Good to see you, man. Thanks for having me. Yeah, this is going to be cool. We've been talking about baseball and stuff for the last couple of weeks, getting it fired up. So then we got the tournament starting right now. I've got it on the TV behind the computer here. So
yeah,
hopefully we can get the Tar Heels a loss tonight. And,
we were talking a little bit about Tar Heels. They don't even honestly deserve to be playing for a play-in game. That's for sure. That's a bad team. For like a team like Ohio State or somebody to not make it and to allow for North Carolina to do it. This is going to be a little North Carolina bias, I think, going on. So
for sure.
Whatever. Let me say hi to a couple people. Top Dog Johnny's in the house right away. Sugar Katie, as always. Mr. Roger Reese, good to see you, buddy. I'm sure a few other people pop in here pretty quick. Brandon W, good to see you. Big time Badger fan here. I don't know if Brandon is or not, but local Wisconsin guy. Mr. Williams, good to see you, buddy. TC, good to see you. Mr. Robinson, good to see you as well. What else we got here? Randall, good to see you as well. A few people are popping in here, so we'll give everybody a chance to pop in. So yeah, anyway, this was kind of one of those things. I knew I did did this stuff with Jay Sells last year and like to mix it up a little bit, get some new fresh blood and stuff in here and figure out who we're excited for in MLB and NCAA, and all while sipping a little bourbon, and makes for, if nothing else, a fun live for tonight. So you guys can put maybe who your favorites are for the 2025 MLB season. Maybe just throw in World Series or who you guys think is going to make it to the World Series, and then give us your final four and your winner for the NCAA tournament. It's always fun to see what people are coming up with. I think this year, I guess before we kick off what should we do first? Should we do basketball or baseball? What do you want to cover first?
Let's do basketball since it's on. Let's do that first.
All right. Let's kick off some NCAA talk. So I think with this always being, a time of year when you get into 2-3 weeks of just, constant basketball, if you're a basketball fan and you enjoy just watching good basketball, this is probably, I think most people are aware of this, the best time of the year to watch college basketball. You get upset, or a lot of upsets. We got teams that are in here that have either never been before, or, that people have never heard of, didn't even know they had basketball teams. So this is always the fun part of the year for the NCAA tournament.
I agree. Yeah. Because this is when you're going to see like St. Francis playing Alabama State, and they're both good teams. So it's a chance to see some other teams you don't normally get to see too.
Yeah, and that's the best part of this, is that with all of these small conferences out there, the Big Four, the Big Five or Six, or whatever you want to call them, they get all the attention, and rightfully so. But when you've got all of these other teams that have to win their conference in order to make it into the tournament, that's a lot of pressure, and it's a big exciting thing for a lot of these guys. These teams, it's big money for them as well, so it gives them an opportunity that they're barely ever on TV outside of their local area. Now they're going to get a little kind of limelight. So I love to watch some of these these 16, 15, 14th ranked teams get in there against these other teams. Now, very often they don't win, but still it's fun to see some of them, and oftentimes they can be very exciting because those 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 seeds, as we know, can really kind of take things for granted and sometimes get knocked off. So,
yep, that's right. But no, it's going to be interesting because, there's, like I said, this is the time of year, and this is the time of year when you get to see all the different conferences, pretty much at the same time, because it's hard to, depending on where you live, who gets played where and what. So, I'm right here in Raleigh, so I'm covered up with Duke, North Carolina, and shitty NC State at the moment. But so it's good to see SEC stuff and all this other. Like I said, St. Francis and Alabama State's on right now, and it's 49-50 in the second half. It's great.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy, and this is how these teams, these are how these games often go. They just, whether they're really mismatched or one is more outmatched, it doesn't really matter come this time of year. I mean, these guys, they're playing their hearts out. I mean, this is it. It is win or go home, and it's really, really fun stuff to watch. So I was debating whether or not I even wanted to do a live tonight, just because I knew that I wanted to watch some of these games, but I figured, you know what, let's just have some fun and kind of go with this tonight. So it'll be a really, really fun tournament. So all right, drop. All right, let's see. What would Roger say here? Colorado State is hot. Yeah, Colorado State is hot. Yeah, very, very, very good basketball team. What else?
Yeah, that K Luke's killer, man.
What's that?
Randall got his K Luke batch 11. That might be my favorite one. Sorry.
Haven't had the batch 11 yet. Actually, did I, or do I have 10 only? I don't know if I even have 11 or not.
It just came out last week at Sealbox.
Oh yeah, I don't have 11, and often I think Jonathan will send a lot of people samples and stuff, but I don't have 11 right now to sip on. But I'm just going with one of our Russells that we're dropping on Friday. I figured I'd get into that thing a little bit.
Sweet,
shameless plug there.
No, that's good. I've got a high proofer over here, and I'm sure you'll probably, when I show it, be like, yeah, I'm not shocked. But I'm starting with the Bloodline 6-year Limestone Farms. This is the $40, $50, I think it's $39, $40 release now from Limestone Farms, and I love it because it's refreshing, it's earthy, it's got a lot of floral notes to it, so I really dig this one.
Yeah,
that's what I'm starting with tonight. And
they did some good stuff. Well, your live stream that you did with them was fun to watch. I was kind of lurking in the background. I was doing some other stuff and listening all at the same time. Pretty interesting gentleman, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, man. Tom's great. Just super nice guy. Sends us all these channels, all this stuff. He sent you your stuff and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun. Oh no, that wasn't the one I was talking about. I was talking about the Larry.
Oh, you're talking about Greg.
Yeah. Unless you did another one that I didn't see.
No, that's I'm just talking about Tom Morrow. But
yeah.
Greg,
when you put that up, I was thinking of the Larrikin. I wasn't thinking of the Limestone Farm. So, but that was a fun. But
that one's coming. So. That's the bottled and bond. So we'll get to it in a minute.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one. I'm interested for you to kind of share for anybody who didn't watch the live, and if they were interested to kind of hear about a new and kind of upcoming brand, you can go back and watch Marty's live. He interviewed was he just the distiller owner or what was he?
He's the head chief, the big elf, the head honcho.
Yeah,
the Ed Williams. I mean, but no, it was awesome, man, because what happened was we had to reschedule because I had to go back to Tennessee, take care of some things with my parents. Mm-hmm. And when I sent him the new link, he never added it to his calendar. So he didn't know we were live. And then Chris Tats, him and Tats are good friends. So Tats is watching the stream. He goes, well, and he started texting Greg, and Greg's like, shit, I'll get set up. Tell him to give me a minute. And me and Tommy been in it for about an hour. And then he joined, and we were on for another, hour and 40 minutes. And I'm so glad he did, because I was like, hey, man, we can reschedule it, whatever. He goes, no, I'm coming. And I'm so glad he did. Super dude, man. This dude was in the military in Australia and in the U.S. Navy. So
it's a It was pretty interesting. You did have a nice long not long live stream, that's for sure.
Yeah. I told Tom's like, how long are we gonna go? I said, probably just an hour. Well, yeah. Welcome to Whiskey Nerd.
Scratch that. Anyway, so yeah, I figured I plus I also got I got a little bit of the kind of in honor of St. Patrick's Day being yesterday. I tried this 2 stacks, which is it was interesting. Full transparency, they did send me this thing, but it was kind of interesting because oftentimes Irish whiskey has, to me, a lot of the very, very similar kind of tasting notes, especially at lower proof. I know when you get into some of the cask strength, they really kind of ramp up, but this one was kind of interesting. This was the 2 stacks. They called it the First Cut Signature Blend, and it was kind of interesting because they've got kind of different components here. It was let's see what this one, and I think a lot of people are now familiar with 2 stacks, but 40% single grain aged in virgin oak casks, another 40% single grain aged in bourbon casks, 8% pot still aged in Oloroso sherry butts, 10% double malt aged in bourbon casks, and 2% peated malt aged in bourbon casks. That was the one thing that I was like a little leery of, whether or not it was going to be up kind of something I would enjoy. But shockingly, I was really kind of digging it. The peat part of it wasn't really the main focus or anything. It was really just a little bit of an accent to maybe give it a touch of smoke with a little bit of that sweetness that was there. So it was actually a pretty darn nice little Irish whiskey. I don't think it's super expensive. I'm going to say they didn't say how much it was. I don't know, maybe $40 or something. I can't imagine it being much more than that. But yeah, anyway, maybe I'll crack that open or sip on a little bit of that stuff later. So,
dude, I did that review. I cut it Sunday night and I put it out yesterday morning. But that Bushmills Peaky Blinders Prohibition bottle, holy shit, was that thing sneaky good at $29. I don't know if you've had it or not, but if you see it, man, I know a lot of people don't want to or not spend a lot of money on Irish and stuff, but man, holy hell. Stacy, I sent her a picture of 4-leaf whiskey. Guys, sub to her if you haven't, please do. And then Eric Gunderson, I sent him a picture, and they're like, both of them said, man, just grab it. And I'm so glad I did. I love it. I probably 5 pours into it, and that's a lot, for me.
I think, honestly, I think with a lot of Irish whiskeys, I mean, they'd really be, in all honesty, like a good gateway for people just getting into whiskey in general, because they're sweet. Oftentimes they're you can get them lower proof. They're not going to always break the bank. They're available, sweet, like I said. So it becomes one of those whiskeys that, I think for a lot of people, without it having a lot of, ethanol, that, you can kind of get into some of these things a little bit, and they're very approachable for the most part. So,
God damn, it's Limestone Farms, dude. I think, I don't mean to kind of change the subject, but I think the first time I had a lot of earthy notes was when me and you and Jason, we were at Starlight, and we were going through some young barrels, trying to do those 2 picks. Because we were trying everything they threw at us. Yeah. And a lot of that stuff was, and that's the first time I really started pulling a lot of earthy notes. And I was like, God, this is fucking terrible dirt. But now I like it. I like a finish with earthy notes. And it may not be everybody's gig, but I'm telling you, man, this Bloodlines Heritage Limestone Farms, it's just cinnamon earth on the back end, and it's so unique. I don't know. Sorry, I'm just
when you I guess for you, when you describe earth, like what are you kind of relating that to? Like what does that come across to you as?
It's like a dry, sandy, bitter. It's almost like eating freaking dirt.
Okay. I mean, I guess that would make it earthy. That's for sure. So,
I mean, it's been, when we're kids playing outside, I don't know. It's just the only way I can explain it is here. Try this. The back end's earthy. See if you think that, you know what I'm saying? It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard for somebody to kind of point that out and be like, hey man, this is Earth.
I think oftentimes and I would probably tend to agree. I think with the dirt thing, like minus eating dirt, I think we've all probably had some dirt in our mouth at some point. But I think a lot of times what we smell, like whether it gets like, barnyardy or like, when soil is like freshly dug up, like I think what we smell oftentimes is what you relate that to, and like what that smells like, it feels like that's what it tastes like. So it's always kind of interesting to see what and how
minerally
that
soil. Yeah, Ed nailed it. Yeah, a lot of minerals. Yeah.
Yes.
Without the salt.
Yeah. And minerals, even with Ed describing that, like mineral can be like, oftentimes a little bit of a different thing for me. Cause when I hear like mineral, oftentimes I'll associate that with pot still. So you get that, like that kind of copper, like, that very like metallic kind of feel. So for me, that's different than earthy. Like, I think you get into those mineral notes, like a penny. Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've had pennies in my mouth before from being a kid or whatever. And you get that weird, goofy flavor with that metal, that metallic kind of taste. Or like if you smell like a freshly shaved pencil, you can kind of taste that a little bit. But it's always kind of interesting. So
anyway. Definitely the metallic, that's for sure. It's I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. But again, I mean, it's whatever that is to you, So, what's up, Coatsy? Good to see you, buddy. Joey B, good to see you as well. I don't even know if I said hi to Ed. Hey, Ed, how's it going? Top Jimmy, good to see you, brother. Who else we got in here? Did I miss anybody else? Mr. Fritz, good to see you. Who else? I already said hi to Travis. So, all right,
Jimmy.
Yeah,
Joey B.
All right, so let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little more basketball. We'll fast forward this thing. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring up or share on the screen right now the bracket, and we're just going to kind of talk a little bit about the Final Four. This will give you guys that are watching right now an opportunity to see the bracket. So let me press. Let me do the share the screen, and hopefully you guys can see that. So. If you can see that, actually, you know what? I think I got to get rid of.
Take me and you out, Scott, and bring up the other one.
I am. I'm gonna. There we go. So, as you guys can see, so we've got all the brackets and stuff. So we got the South and West and the East and the Midwest. So. I guess if we start in the top left, obviously Auburn being the number one seed, I think overall they're going to be extremely, extremely difficult to beat. I think everybody's beatable, but Auburn, in my opinion, is going to be maybe, if not the most difficult team to beat. I just feel like they're going to be very, very difficult to beat. So what are your thoughts on the South? I don't know if you have a bracket or you can see that. But,
I do. So they're playing, I think, the winner of this game. It's on now, Alabama State.
Yeah, they are. Okay. Yeah.
I think Louisville is a very good, quick team. I think you got to watch out for Texas A&M. Texas A&M has played a lot of great teams all season long, so I think they're prepared.
Yep.
But, Iowa State, I just don't know their strength of schedule, to be honest, to get them real deep in the tournament. But that's really it from that side. I think Auburn, Louisville, and Texas, they got a really good bracket on their side. So
yeah, I think
they could easily slide right into playing. I don't know.
Well, I think there's a lot of teams that I've watched in that bracket like all year, in the Big Ten and Marquette and Iowa State, all those. We see a lot of those teams here. I mean, they're all very good teams. It can be sneaky good at some time, but it's going to be very interesting to see, really how just about anybody matches up with Auburn. If Louisville wins, Louisville's a very, very good basketball team. So that's going to be a tough matchup, like right away. If Auburn gets past them, you're looking at, potentially at that point, again, Texas A&M, maybe in Mississippi or something like that. But that could be very, very tough. So, I think if you go below that into into the West, I mean, obviously Florida, I mean, they're the number one seed in the West. They're going to be extremely difficult, but I think if they're, to me, I think they've got a really kind of I don't want to say an easy path, but an easier path to get to, I guess I'll say at least the Elite Eight. Maybe if they run into,
Kansas or Texas Tech or the other two in there that I think that you could fight with a little bit on a good day.
Exactly. I mean, Texas Tech's probably one of the more underrated. I mean, as much as a 3 can be underrated, that's a very, very good basketball team. So
Texas Tech is not a team I'd want to play.
No.
Not quick.
I feel like they can make like a really good run, considering the bracket that they're in, that they wouldn't even meet up, with potentially like a St. John's or a Texas Tech until the Sweet 16. But they're very, very good. There's no doubt about that. So
I agree.
I'd be honestly surprised if anybody did upset Florida. They're so good, but we'll see what happens there. But a Texas Tech is one of those teams that could definitely make a little bit of a run there. That's for sure. St. John's, I think St. John's down there again is very, very good. And I have them in the Final Four, but the only thing right now that I'm a little reluctant on with them, or a little kind of gun shy, is kind of the big moment. It's been a while since St. John's has been here or in this kind of moment. Will it end up being too big, which is another one of those kind of tricky things, when they run up against a team that maybe has a little bit more of a veteran presence and maybe has been there before, you kind of wonder if the moment becomes a little bit too big for them. So,
right. Like you said, you talk about the moment, but that moment is, a lot of that is consistent of who have you played all year.
It is.
When have you stepped up?
That's the thing. I mean, they've had a hell of a team, they have a hell of a team and a great record this year. But, again, when you get to this time of year, it's more pressure than just playing a conference game, obviously you go to the East, this can be tough. I mean, if Cooper Flag is healthy, Duke's going to be extremely, extremely difficult to beat. I know you've got Alabama kind of mixed in there. They were hot all the way up until they kind of fallen off a little bit here towards the end of the year, but they've been very good. I've got to root my Badgers on. They've got a pretty good.
Sure.
The Badgers, for me, if they can play gritty basketball like they have been, they can make a little bit of a run against some of these teams that are there.
So if they can beat Vanderbilt, they're moving. They're actually going to be okay.
There's a possibility of that. I mean, there's really a strong possibility they could get all the way to play. If Duke makes it, they could play Duke at that point. So. That's my hope and dream, and God forbid something else crazy happens, but we'll see. That's my pick would probably ultimately be, at the end of the day, Duke to come out of there. Houston, again, another. I don't know what to make of Houston, to be honest.
I don't either, man. I don't either.
It's just tough. Houston looked really good on paper and their record. I just don't know if when you get into this time of year, you're going to have enough, if they're just going to have enough of that experience again. This is one of those big things where, even though the players maybe haven't been there, these schools have been there and they're used to that, so that's the one thing that I'm a little sneaky of when you get into the Midwest.
Roger, you're right. Don't fear Kansas, the hot garbage coach says, but Roger says St. John's is a good story this year. Yeah, I mean, they're playing some teams too.
Very good. I mean, anything can happen, as we know. Again, it's going to be one of those tricky things, but Alabama's going to be tough. I mean, I ultimately have Tennessee going. I think Tennessee is just one of those teams that has played. They played Florida a couple times this year. I mean, they've been a little bit battle tested. I think Tennessee is a great team. I mean, ultimately, I'd love to see them play
I like to see him play Duke. I swear to God,
Yeah,
I would. I just like to see him. I like to see the guards of Tennessee defense against Duke.
yeah. I mean, it'd be interesting to see some of that stuff. So I think you've got, you know, a lot of really, really good. They are. I mean, they're a very good story this year, and you know, it's one of those things where it's going to be again, it's going to be it's going to be a really fun tournament. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy. I think a lot of these teams, it feels a little more wide open. Like, you know, nobody has that like just pure dominance like all year long that you feel like there's somebody who's, you know, if you're going to go out on a limb, I think Auburn got the #1 overall seed for a reason, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they've probably played, you know, some of the best competition and probably have the best team on paper. We'll see what happens. I mean, it's going to be very, very interesting. So who do you have as, and you guys in the comments below, you guys over in the comments, let me know who your Final Four is. I'd love to see or hear from you guys as to who your Final Four will be this year. It's always interesting. This is the fun part about putting brackets and stuff together this year. But Marty, what do you got this year? What's your Final Four look like?
You know, I think Auburn's vulnerable. So I don't know. I kind of like Louisville there. I just think Auburn
that'd be a big run by an 8 seed.
I just think Louisville is super fast, super good. Ole Miss isn't terrible by any means, or they wouldn't be here. But I don't know, man. It's hard to root again. I got Auburn going a long way. I'll just stick with Auburn on that side, and then Kansas, I think, is pretty solid, to be honest. I know a lot of people don't like them, but Maryland's not terrible. I hate to pick all 1 seeds, but it's hard not to. But
yeah, it is.
I'm looking at that bottom bracket right now on the left. I don't know, man. Arkansas's, you know, they got a great coach, whether you like him or not. UConn's pretty damn solid still after the runs they've had. I don't know, man. That side's hard for me, to be honest. Of course, I've got Duke going a long way, especially if Flag's playing. I'm with you, dude. That's going to be hard to beat.
It's going to be very tough. I mean, when you look at that bracket, I mean, it's just, I mean, all the way.
That side, Scott, for me, I don't mean to interrupt you, but you got Alabama and Vanderbilt in there, and they've all played each other all year long.
Yeah.
So they I mean, you know, Alabama, Vanderbilt, they're SEC teams. They've played strong competition. Duke's played great in the ACC. That's hard to go. Like you said, man,
I mean, really, before Auburn, I mean, Alabama was the team that everybody was kind of gushing over. I mean, Alabama started out the first half of the year, and maybe even into a little bit of the first half. I mean, they were dominant, you know. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me one bit to see, you know, Alabama make it all the way there, you know.
Yeah. Of course, you know, I'm going Vols. So,
yeah, well, that's a very good basketball team too. So
they just got their problem is the Tennessee will hang around if they don't have a first half lead. They'll hang around a little bit in the second half, and sometimes they just cannot throw it in the damn ocean at all. And that's what got them against Florida in the championship game. They just couldn't make shots start of the second half, and that'll kill you.
Well, you know, looking at that bracket, I mean, really, it's kind of setting up to be, you know, honestly, Tennessee and Kentucky. Now, here's the only thing I would say is, you know, with that kind of setup, I think really, I mean, Tennessee's got a pretty good opportunity. I mean, Kentucky, they're good, but man, they're beatable. They're beatable. You know, the only thing that could potentially be a little bit of an issue there, in all honesty, is, you know, don't sleep on Illinois. That's a very good basketball team as well. So, I mean, there's a chance that Illinois could knock off Kentucky,
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of good stuff going on. So, all right, let me
Yeah,
stop.
don't what was it? Somebody said we forgot about Houston. Yeah, don't sleep on Houston.
No, you can't sleep on Houston either. That's again, it's another
Yeah.
very, very good basketball team. When you start to look at that bracket as well, I mean, it's again, you can make a case for all of these ones and twos. There's a reason they're
Yeah.
ones and twos because of that. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how this all shakes out. But I think at the end of the day, most of the time when you see this, the Cinderella kind of stories only last for so long. And then the cream kind of rises to the top. The big boys end up there most of the time. These experienced teams, these guys that have, veterans or schools that have been there. So that's the one main thing that you really always have to be a little aware of, So it's an interesting thing, but anyway, it is what it is. So let's see, what do we got here? Yeah, that's the other thing, like Roger said, like Kentucky is one of those teams, they're very good at disappointing the Kentuckians, that's for sure. So it's a fun a fun team to watch. Kentucky, I don't know outside of Duke if there's more 5-star blue chippers that go to a school other than Duke and Kentucky. It seems like that's where every top recruit in the country ends up, but it generally seems to gel much better at Duke than it does Kentucky for whatever reason. So
somebody needs a drug test. Roger Reese.
Man, Florida wins it all. I mean, hey, again,
not there. No. He said something further down in chat, but no, stop. Go with that. Yeah, Florida very well could.
Yeah. All right. So, all right, we did we kind of put our final four together a little bit? Did you give me your final four?
Yeah, it's hard to go,
all right.
without.
So I just went Auburn, St. John's,
outside of the top.
Yeah, I just went Auburn, St. John's, Duke, Tennessee. I don't know if I don't know if I'll stick with that. I'm not really feeling St. John's for the most part. I think it's a great story, but I'm just not quite sure if they'll be able to live up to the moment with everything. But anyway, all right. So we're 32 minutes in, pretty good transition time. We'll move on to 2025 MLB season. I think a lot of people are excited for that. First game of the season started at 3:00 this morning with the Cubs and Dodgers in Japan. So that's kind of cool. I'd like to see the MLB doing these kind of fun things and getting teams, obviously that are heavily, I guess, involved with the Japanese contingent, so that was kind of fun. What are your thoughts on kind of MLB going over to Japan to kind of open up the season?
I don't know. You're going to have good stadiums. I mean, Japanese baseball is, very, very good. To be honest, I didn't even realize they played today. So till you said something, I'm like, come on, Cubs, beat them fucking Dodgers. But yeah, apparently that didn't happen. Who pitched for LA?
It was
the Japanese guy.
Yeah, Yoshin. Yeah.
That's narrowed it down for their lineup.
I mean, that's what they did with the Dodgers and Cubs. So Yoshinobu or something like that. I think for the Yamamoto, I think for the Dodgers, and Yoshiniba or Yoshinibi or something like that for the Cubs. So, and you knew they were going to set that up. I mean, it had to be that with Shohei and all that other kind of good stuff.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I think it's just, kind of allows the MLB to kind of show off and get their players, some of the Japanese players, back to Japan and all of that. So, I think it's not great for our viewership. It's great for probably, the Japanese and kind of all their fans to be able to see that kind of baseball. But, for us, based on the timing, it's not so
Coach,
great.
That's a pretty good point. I mean, I guess, I don't know, you got time to acclimate yourself back to the time difference. I don't know. It's just, I understand that. Cheers, Eric.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with Coatsy, what he's saying, I kind of question the same thing too. Like I think to Jason's point, when you start the season, I mean, two weeks early, I mean, that's 2 weeks of not really kind of being able to totally prepare your body for that full season. So I didn't understand, unless they were just trying to get ahead of the Japanese season. Again, I don't know when they actually start or whatever it may be, but I kind of thought the same thing too. This is putting these guys a little bit at risk, and then resulting in a little bit of a layoff, because there's going to be a little bit of a downtime, I believe, before they have to then come back here, play other games. So it's an odd thing. And I mean, these aren't even exhibition games. These are real games, which I guess why not just play them as exhibition? Why start the season like?
I don't know.
Like,
I agree. I don't know. That's kind of like with the NFL going to, England and Germany or wherever. It's like, do that early in the year or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I'd be pissed if that's my team and they're playing at 2:00 in the morning, and especially the first game of the year. You're like, come on, man.
Yeah. I mean, they've got to get acclimated. I'm sure they probably were there a couple days ahead, so just to try to get acclimated from that standpoint. I know Ed was saying, huge sponsorship money from Japan, and I'm sure that had a lot to do with it, bringing the Japanese that were there to America and then go back to Japan. I'm sure that's a big kind of show off, for MLB. But it is kind of an odd thing why you'd start these things 2 weeks before the actual regular season, here at the end of March, when really just about everybody begins. But yeah, I wasn't quite sure what the deal was with that. So, hey, Waxter, how's it going, buddy?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of, I mean, for me, anytime the Cubs lose, I'm good with that. Being a Brewers fan, I'm good with that. I never want to really root for the Dodgers either. I mean, I think what the Dodgers do is a bit kind of crazy, but and to me, I guess my opinion is it's not super great for baseball. I guess if you're a Dodgers fan, I guess it's great. You just buy every single baseball player you can, and you don't really care about any of the money, whether it's now or 50 years in the future. They're just going to pay these guys whatever it is they want. So I wish Major League Baseball was a little bit more, I guess, kind of dialed in than it being just such like a loose cannon type of thing,
It's the whole. It's, I don't know, man. I'm glad the buy. Well, I mean, they still do it. Don't get me wrong, but you can't talk about the Yankees buying everybody anymore now that with LA doing what they're doing. But I don't know, man. It's just watching Soto's off season and going, within like 10 days of these offers, and then settling on the Mets. It's just kind of like, any loyalty anywhere. But hell, he's been with 4 teams now in 6 years, something like that, I guess.
Yeah, quite a few. So yeah, Washington, San Diego, and Mets, Yankees. So yeah, 4 teams in 5 or 6 seasons. So he's been around a little bit. He's still a young guy, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there's like the core teams that have all the money that are going to ultimately be able to afford all these great players, which it's a little unfortunate from a salary cap standpoint that not everybody can really compete totally, even though they do. There's a lot of other, small market teams that do still kind of compete. But, again, just like basketball, when it comes down to it, oftentimes the teams with the better players are going to kind of come out ahead a little bit. So,
yeah. Wayne, Scott will talk about it here in just a second.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess shameless plug. So Friday for Mash and Journey Whiskey Club, we've got our 2 Russells coming. Wayne was actually a part of that. We have Camp Nelson E and Tyrone B. So we'll be dropping these to you guys on Friday. So look out for those. Again, 5:00 Eastern, and we'll be chatting about that again. So
cheers, Tom.
Hey, Tom, good to see you.
That's what we started the night with, buddy.
All right. So MLB. So, do you have anything in front of you? You can kind of go through. I
Dude,
guess
I'm
let's
ready.
do our division. I guess winners. We'll go through. We'll start in the AL. We'll go AL East. And who do you have winning the AL East this year?
The
I know.
Orioles.
I know who you want to say, of course.
Yeah, well, I mean, but I'm realistic too. I think the Orioles are going to be still with all the transactions and stuff they had during the offseason. I think the Orioles are still going to be very, very good. I think, I don't know, Toronto will, I think they'll be a little bit better. I don't think they're strong enough to win it. Tampa Bay, God bless their hearts.
Yeah.
Boston's going to be better. You got to watch the Red Sox. It depends, how they do after the All-Star break, kind of like the Mets every year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm straight up. I mean, we'll see. Now we have Garrett Cole out for the year, so that was a great start.
Yeah, it's a very tough one because I mean the Yankees are getting demoralized by injuries right now. You lost. I'll say arguably your top of the rotation pitcher and Garrett Cole. I mean that doesn't help. Any.
And your protection of Aaron Judge was Soto.
Yeah, that's gone. I mean, I think you're gonna have to maybe rely on Jason Dominguez as a whatever 50-year-old rookie or however old he is now. I mean, I've been talking about him forever.
He graduated a year before I did.
So
he's 51.
Yeah, he's a old young guy, that's for sure. But I mean, the Yankees are going to be in it. I mean, they're just going to. But yeah, losing Garrett Cole at the top there is going to be a bit of a tough one. I mean, I grew up a Yankees fan as well. I mean, I grew up, watching all the 80s and a lot of the 90s from Mattingly all the way through Jeter and all those dynasty teams. And it was great. It was great to watch, and now you've got, Aaron Judge, which, what was I going to say? Stanton. Now he's got elbow problems, so you don't want to lose him. You're starting to lose protection for Judge. At what point do you just not even throw the ball to him? So you can't be a factor if no one's going to throw to you. So that's the concerning factor for the Yankees is will they have enough offense around Judge to be able to score a bunch of runs, That's the issue. So
I still think, it's funny though, every year it's still, very consistent that the East always has at least three teams that can just pop, Boston, a lot of time, for the last few years up until last year, really, but you got Tampa Bay that was always popping and, you had great competition all year long, but I don't know, man. I think, I tell you what, for God bless them, Todd and Andy, the Orioles, they're going to be fun to watch because of their youth. I think I would love to have that kind of youth. That reminds me of the old 96, 97 Yankees when you had Bernie, all the young guys, back then came up. And I think that's going to be a fun team to watch. So, but the East is going to have, 3 or 4 stellars like they always do. But then, we were talking about, Scott, before we went on, we were talking about the Central. Good God. I'm with you, man. I think Detroit and Cleveland are kind of a toss-up for me. I don't mean to jump ahead, but I mean, if that's.
Yeah, no, I guess if we go back to the East quick, I think the Red Sox, as much as I don't want to root for the Red Sox, I think somehow they put it together, and their addition of Garrett Crochet, I think, is going to be a huge deal for them if they get a couple of those young prospects that they've got who really turn into something. That could be a very, very good baseball team, very similar to what the Orioles are doing. I think the Yankees are going in the wrong direction, in my opinion. There's age factors, and then the other young teams are kind of starting to catch them a little bit. So anyway, it'll be interesting. That'll be a fun division to watch this year. So, but all right, we'll jump to the AL Central this year. Who you got in the AL Central?
I think toss up, really, like I say, man, it's a toss up. Tom's here, so Tom, jump in. Let us know in chat what you think of Detroit's chances. But I think right now, really, it's kind of a toss-up for me between Detroit and oh my God, they just made it with 0.7 of a second left. Alabama State went up on a long touchdown pass under the basket. So they're y'all see that in a minute. But anyway, I think it's a toss-up between Cleveland and Detroit right now. Either one of them could probably do something.
Okay. Yeah, I guess for me, and I'm not overlooking either one of those. I've got the Royals winning this year. I think Bobby Witt Jr. is going to put that team on his back. They got a good pitching staff. I think Detroit's got a really good pitching staff as well. They're going to be in it. You know, these young guys, I think now are having such a huge impact on these clubs that it makes for a very interesting baseball now. I think more than ever, these teams are really relying heavily on these young kind of superstar baseball players, and they're really starting to kind of, you know, make that kind of impact. I mean, they always have, but it just seems to be, with as technical as baseball has become, these guys at such young ages are such an impact. I mean, I guess just from my standpoint, like watching Jackson Chourio last year from the Brewers at 20 years old do what he did. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. And these are like, you know, these are barely
here, but by God, pressured means nothing. You know?
Yeah, I mean, they're so young that they've never even really felt that yet. I mean, they've done so well, but they have such a limited amount of time where they've never had just a lot of success, that these young guys just don't even feel that, I don't think, yet. So anyway, I've got the Royals coming out of the Central.
I like it. Yeah, I dig it. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
We'll see. But, you know, that's the thing. At the end of the day, you got to be able to pitch. You know, they've got a pretty good staff. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, Code said, R.I.P. White Sox. My God, I mean, it is bad. I mean, that is. And it's just going to be worse. Like, I thought last year's team was bad. I mean, in all honesty, they could lose more games this year than they did last year, which would be extremely difficult to do. Like, you'd have to like really try hard to lose that many games again this year. But we'll see. There's a possibility. I guess a positive spin to that is you can probably go to a lot of White Sox games for very inexpensively. So.
Jeez, that's a shame, man. It's just a shame. There's absolutely no reason a professional sport like that, especially baseball, with the history of the White Sox, should ever be like that. Shame on you, owner.
It's pretty bad from that standpoint. So, anyway, all right, we'll move on. We'll get out of that one. Let's go to the West. The West could be AL West. This is going to be a tough division right here. This could be really one of those sneaky ones this year. So who do you got?
I don't care as long as Houston doesn't. So,
okay. Yeah. All right.
I think I hate the Astros more than I do the Red Sox now. So I'm interested in seeing what the Athletics do. You know, new place.
Yeah.
A lot of young talent. Signed some good people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in seeing how they do. They got nothing to lose, but let's just go out and play hard. You know, kind of like what the White Sox will try to do also. But, you know, I don't know if the Angels have enough pitching to really get them through the year.
Yeah.
Seattle's kind of hit or miss for me. I don't know, man. I just feel like they've let too many of the young guys go the last 2 or 3 years. Texas could be a sleeper. Texas could be okay, but I don't know, man. I kind of want to see what Oakland, or not Oakland, I guess it's Vegas. Yeah. The Athletics do now. So
yeah, for me, I mean, I think it's like the team you mentioned last. I think is the team that runs. I don't want to say runs away with it, but I think, you know, beats out the Astros. I think the Rangers ultimately win that division. I think with their experience and their pitching that they have, that's going to be a very, very good baseball team, and we'll see. Yeah, it'd be nice to, from a refreshing standpoint, it'd be nice to see some of these teams that haven't won in a little while. And again, I think, you know, for a lot of people, you know, wouldn't mind seeing a team like the A's, you know, go far or win that division. I mean, they've been bad for kind of so long that it just would be fun to see somebody win like that. So, Tommy D, what's up, brother? So anyway, I wouldn't mind seeing the A's again. I think at the end of the day, do they have enough? Probably not, to overtake a team like Houston or the Rangers or something like that. But anyway, I'm going to go AL West and the Texas Rangers. So,
I dig it. No argument
all right.
here.
So now we're going on to I think the best league right now, the National League. This is gonna be a lot of battles of some really, really good baseball teams. So let's go NL East. This is gonna be a battle right here. Who you got in the NL East this year?
I think the Braves have the same issues that the Yankees do. Can your big guns stay healthy? Can your big hitters play all year?
Yep.
That's the thing for the Braves. They've got the pitch, and they signed the left-hander that was with Boston years ago, big lanky kid.
Chris Sale.
Yeah, they've got Sale now, so he'll pick up a lot of slack for the starters. The Mets, they just added to the arsenal. That's if you got to put a money bet on it, I think you got to do Mets. I think the Phillies are going to be good. They're going to be hard to beat. I think I would probably go Mets, Phillies, Braves.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. Oh, you think the Phillies will overtake the A's or the Braves? Hey?
I think they could. They've got such great power that Schwarber, Harper, all those guys.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know.
Oftentimes one of those second teams ends up as a wild card team anyway out of that division, a lot of times. So, do two teams out of that division probably go? More than likely. But yeah, I originally kind of had the Braves, but I kind of started thinking, I think the addition to them adding Soto is such a huge deal that if that guy does, at all what he's capable of, and I'm sure he's going to, that's a huge bat to add. It's tough. They pitch well. You got Francisco Lindor. You've got a really, really strong baseball team. And like you said, I think the Braves are maybe going slightly backwards a little bit. So, we'll see. But I think the Mets ultimately win that division. But I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to really come down to Mets, Braves. I think the Phillies will be in there. But I don't know if they'll. I don't know. I don't know why I necessarily think that. I think it'll come down to those two teams. But we'll see with that. So
what you need to do, Hawk, when we get done, you need to put a Patreon post together of what we talked about and who we picked. That way we have something we can go back to in September and October and see if we're even close.
I'll do that. I'll do that for sure.
Coach,
all right,
not to be. I know. He's like Stanton. Good luck.
That's the other thing. Yeah. With him for the most part, I think collectively last year for the most part, obviously he stayed healthy, but again, he's had some kind of freaky things, but we'll move on from that. But yeah, if he stays healthy, having a top of the rotation guy like that is clearly beneficial. So it hurts for them to lose. Who was the other lefty that went to the Yankees? Max Fried.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a big loss for them to lose him, but a big addition for the Yankees. But anyway.
But if Sale stays healthy, he can definitely fill that void.
Yeah.
But Maxie could go down too. It's just a crapshoot. So
that's pitchers in general. They are, if they stay healthy, it's all a bonus. You factor somewhere along the way that a pitcher is gonna injure themselves one way or another. When they stay healthy, that's a bonus. But I don't know. We'll see how that goes. So all right, let's go to the NL West. I don't even know if you hardly even need to talk about the NL West at all. Hardly. It just seems to be one of those things every year we talk about the same two teams, for crying out loud.
Other than the Dodgers, I draw a blank. I'm just being honest. The Padres are still consistent, but the turnover rate in San Diego, you about can't keep up with.
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco, I think, The Rockies are I probably bottom dwellers.
Yeah,
I hate to say that, but I think the Rockies and I think the Diamondbacks may not be far behind.
Yeah, I think the Diamondbacks will be. I think they'll be a little bit sneaky good this year. I'm not good enough to win that division. I mean, it's got to be frustrating being all of those teams that, for the most part, are not the Dodgers. I mean, I think the Padres have tried really hard to spend a bunch of money at times, and it just has not worked out. So San Diego again has tried buying these teams, and it just for whatever reason hasn't worked very well. But anyway, it's probably Dodgers or bust, right? I mean, how can it not be at this point?
It's a crazy non-bet. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right, let's go. Let's go to the NL Central. Who do you got? Who do you got there?
As much as I hate to say it,
don't do it.
You know what?
Better not start with a C. That's all I'm telling you.
This is the hardest division for me, to be honest. It really is, because
there's a smart guy. I invited the wrong guy on tonight. I can tell what he wants to say. That's fine. Yeah, just stay honest. Just be honest. Okay, that's fine. You be honest and tell what you think.
I think Pittsburgh needs more hitting than what they've got. They got schemes that'll get them 18 wins at least, or more. Cincinnati, you've got some great infielders. You got some that can hit the shit out of it. You got some outfielders that can run. I just don't know if your pitching will live up to it.
Yeah.
St. Louis, you're not getting any better. Sorry. And the Cubs, you might be a shade better than you were last year. So I think you're in a good seat, Scott, with Milwaukee. I think they're going to be okay. At least it'll
be competitive. I mean, I'm expecting that division.
That's a hard one for me. Like I said, it could go. Being honest, it could go this way, that way, or
And again, I think with just about every division, it really boils down to kind of pitching and how that's gonna go. I mean, I have to admit, being a Brewers fan, there's been the last couple of years where, kind of going into the season, you haven't had like super high hopes, but I'll tell you, they've been so gritty and have found a way to kind of get into the playoffs. But again, you have to avoid injuries. And when you don't already start out with maybe the best from a pitching standpoint, losing guys can be a really big deal. They've patchworked the hell out of things. So that's been their positive, is really getting the most out of some of these guys that have really not really lived up to much since. But we'll see. I think having Savali there this year with a little more of a veteran presence. Now Quintana, they just signed not long ago. If they get anything out of Woodruff, that will be really cool. Losing Burns a couple years ago, that kind of hurt. So we'll see. I mean, they've got some really good young hitters kind of coming. So we'll see. Of course, the Cubs, I mean, they're going to be a thorn in the side. They're just going to do that. The Cardinals, I think the Cardinals have probably seen better days for the most part. The Pirates, they usually start out really hot, and then they just they do pirate things. They just kind of ultimately fade away. Kind of sucks to see somebody like a Paul Skeens, have to kind of, deal with that for so long. He's going to be trapped with a team that, for the most part, may just not win unless they decide to spend a bunch of money and bring in other players. I think the Pirates are just what the Pirates are, right? I don't know what they're going to do. So, but yeah, if I was picking two teams again, I think it comes down to the Brewers and Cubs ultimately in that. And the sneaky team again for me would be not the Pirates, but the Reds. The Reds could really be a sneaky team.
Yeah, I think so. You're right.
They're actually a pretty good team. They look pretty good on paper. If they put it all together, there's a chance that they could really be in the mix as well. So it'll be interesting. All right, so we're close to an hour. Let's do a couple more things. We'll wrap it up. Can you give me both? We'll do the final three: AL, NL, like the Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, and MVP. Can you do that? You think?
Shit. I mean, yeah, I guess.
What about, all right, let's do, well, we don't have to necessarily do rookie of the year, whether you want to
I
or
wouldn't
not.
know. That'll be a kid that's gonna. Yeah, I wouldn't know.
All
To
right.
be honest.
What about AL, NL, Cy Young? Do you have any guesses on who you think wins AL Cy Young and NL Cy Young? All right. While you're thinking about it, I'll tell you mine and reason why. So this year I'll go AL Cy Young. I think with Garrett Crochet, going over to Boston, I think he's the person I think ultimately that allows for the Red Sox to win that division. I think that's going to be a huge deal if he stays healthy and pitches like he did last year with some offense behind him. That guy was just straight up nasty. So I think Garrett Crochet wins AL Cy Young, and my NL Cy Young, I guess unfortunately or fortunately, in the same division as the Brewers is going to be the Pirates and Paul Skeens. I think for, you could maybe pick a Dodger. You could probably go, I don't know. I just think Paul Skeens, that guy again, is so dominant that even though, he gets the ball every 5 games, I mean, he's got the potential to go out and throw a no-hitter, every time. I mean, not that he's going to do that, but he's got that kind of stuff. So that would be my AL and NL. AL, Garrett Crochet, National League Cy Young, Paul Skeens, Pirates.
I think Scooble is going to be hard to beat on Cy Young for Detroit. I like him.
Yep.
I think being left-handed and the damn arsenal that he brings to the table and his size, I think he is solid. And then Skeens is right there. I think Scooble's a sleeper. I think it's hard to bet against Skeens, but I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see. Skeens in NL, maybe in AL. Yeah, Roger, I can see that too. So
yeah, I mean, Tanner Bibby is another good one, and I'm sure that's a little bit of the Cleveland bias probably popping in there a little bit. But I understand that, another very good pitcher. I guess that's always the tough part. I think a lot of times both the Cy Young ends up being a pitcher that is on one of the more dominant teams. So I was reluctant to say Paul Skeens because he's going to be with the Pirates. And, at some point his wins are going to be irrelevant. That's the problem, is that, they're only going to be, good in the moment, but can you still, I mean, if the guy ends up being, I don't know, 20-4 with a sub-3 ERA, like, I mean, how do you not award that? Even though they're probably not going to be a playoff team. Now, again, there's a lot of other factors that play into it, but I'd be surprised that he's my pick. Would I be surprised if he did win it? Yes. I think it ultimately goes to, a team that is a major contender for the playoffs, because that's oftentimes what it is. So, but anyway, yeah, I mean, I think for what you kind of said, I would have not a problem with that. All right, so your AL Cy Young again was Scooble from the all right, Skeens and Scooble.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, the double S's. Okay.
Ed's got a good point there. Yamamoto is going to be
There's a very good. I mean, also Blake Snell. I mean, you got to remember, look at these guys. I mean, look at that pitching staff. Now you've got the rookie, which he's not really a rookie, from Japan. Roki Sasaki is going to be their third or fourth guy. You've got Yamamoto, you've got Blake Snell. I mean, you've got 3 or 4 number ones on almost any other teams. So on any other team. So it's crazy for what you've got, there. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if a Dodger won it from the NL. That's going to be the tough part, and that's also the winning factor right there. So I wouldn't disagree with that at all. So, what's up, Sharpie? My favorite Wisconsin distillery right there, Mr. Justin Sharpie, Driftless Glenn. What's up, brother? Good to see you. Would be cool to hang out sometime, hopefully soon. We'll have to get some boat drinks or something, but good to see you, brother. All right, so let's move on to AL. The AL. Oh yeah, we're not going to do. Actually, I'll give you my AL and NL Rookie of the Year. AL Rookie of the Year, I'll go with a Detroit Tiger. I'll go with Jackson Jobe. Uh, big power, arm right there. Young kid who can just flat out deal. So I wouldn't be surprised if Jackson Jobe of the Detroit Tigers won the AL Rookie of the Year. And my NL Rookie of the Year is going to go to, again, a Dodger, Roki Sasaki, even though he's not really a rookie.
Yeah,
he's still pro ball, but he qualifies as it because he was signed as an amateur. So he has rookie status technically. So he's going to be able to, well, I think it wouldn't even matter. I think all the Japanese guys that come over have rookie status, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a stupid thing, but anyway, that's who I'll go for AL and NL Rookie of the Year. Now let's wrap her up with AL MVP and then what we think what the World Series will be this year. All right, give me your AL MVP and your NL MVP.
Judge and what's his name from the Dodgers? Same shit. It's hard to vote against him.
Yeah, Ohtani.
Yeah, thank you. I get. Yeah, I'm Japanese. It's not my native tongue. So no. Yeah,
could have fooled me.
Some young boy.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. So, all right, my AL MVP, Bobby Witt Jr. Dude's ridiculous. He's young.
He is.
Stud shortstop. I think he's what propels the Royals this year to win the division. And yeah, NL MVP, pretty easy, I think, for me. Again, Shohei Ohtani. I mean, until you're not
Guerrero Jr. is not a bad bet either. Guerrero,
Vlad for AL. Yeah, there's a chance he could win it. He at the trade deadline, who knows? But he could end up a Yankee. There's a good possibility he ends up a Yankee or something. He's not sticking around in Toronto much longer. That's for sure. So, but anyway, I mean, I think for me, like what Bobby Witt does and being young, shortstop, I mean, that dude, the way he can hit for average and power.
He's fun to watch. No doubt.
He's a ridiculous talent, which could end up being, again, like the kid in Baltimore, Gunnar Henderson. I mean, he's another kid, that could ultimately get him. He's injured, I think, right now a little bit, but, another kind of similar type of guy who can hit for average and power and drive in runs. So another big one there. But, and then, Ohtani, I mean, I think to me, for what he does, when you're talking about a guy who's still going to pitch and hit the way he does, there is nobody better in baseball, in my opinion. You can't pitch like that and hit like that and not be considered the best, in my opinion.
We were at our local bar here, I guess a week or two ago, and it was Ohtani's first at bat in a spring training game, and damn if he didn't hit it out in left field. First at bat, just smoked it.
Yeah,
oh, got him, dude.
I mean, he's just, for that kind of talent, I mean, I know none of us or most people that are even alive really have had much of an opportunity to watch what Babe Ruth did. And again, I know you're comparing different times, but when you factor in what they did, how they pitched and hit, and again, I think even from a hitting standpoint, what Babe Ruth was doing when he hit 60 home runs, like the nearest guy was like, 10 or 12. I mean, it was just dominance at its, there's not that kind of dominance, but I think for what he does, there isn't anybody better that I can agree of in my time for what he's done, in baseball. So,
I agree.
Watching Bonds again, I know like Kraken has got kind of Bonds, but man, I mean, and he was flat out dominant. Like during his time, I mean, Bonds was the best. There's no doubt about that. Kind of same thing with Griffey and all those guys. I mean, Bonds, that dude could just flat out hit. There's no doubt about it. But anyway, for me, it's really not even close. So Ohtani, I think, just again wins it pretty easy. And Bobby Witt, I'm a fan of. So hopefully he'll do it. So
it'd be great.
All right, sure. Can you give me a World Series this year?
It's hard to go against the Dodgers, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I think the AL could be a sleeper team. I think I think Baltimore's, like I said, man, Baltimore's good. Baltimore, and like you said, Kansas City in the Central.
Yeah.
You know, it's just it. The thing with baseball is, and this is a whole nother show, but back years ago, either you won the American League and you won the National League. That was the World Series. Nowadays, you have two seasons. You have the regular season. You have to play the second season of the playoffs.
Right.
So
Right.
it's just how good are you in the playoffs?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And again, I think it kind of boils down to some of these teams that have had, a little bit of an opportunity to be there before. The moment isn't quite as big. So, I mean, I'd love to see something like for ratings, it would be horrible. Like everybody would love to see probably like, Yankees or Red Sox, Dodgers, something like that. That'd be huge for ratings. Are people kind of, or Mets or something like that? Are people kind of tired, or a Subway Series? I mean, that would all be great from a rating standpoint. But man, seeing like a I don't know, like the Kansas City Royals, or I don't know, even like the Texas Rangers, and somebody else from the NL, like outside of the Dodgers. I think anything that would be out of the norm would probably be fun. Even though as much as I say that out loud, I think at the end of the day, you still would love to see like a Yankees Mets World Series, or like another Subway Series or something. Just, you'd have, that natural rivalry, which would just be cool from that standpoint. But, again, when you equate it to like football, like everyone's tired of Kansas City, or, they want Buffalo to win or whatever it may be. You get so sick and tired of these same teams always being there that, yeah, if the Dodgers didn't end up, I wouldn't be heartbroken if the Dodgers didn't end up in there. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh hell no. It's almost more fun to root against the ones you don't want there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like for me, it's Houston, it's the Dodgers,
Yeah.
and it used to be the Red Sox. But
yeah.
You know what? For me, as a Yankee fan, and I don't know, you speak on this for St. Louis and Chicago, but for me, it's almost more fun during the season when those teams are good, rather than not good.
Yeah.
It's more fun to watch the competitive aspect of it between all those teams against who you love, than just them being terrible or just fair. I mean, of course, we want them to suck.
Yeah. I was just gonna say. There is a flip side. There is a flip side to like if you can win the division like a little more comfortably, like
sword, man.
Yeah, if you're into September and you've got like an 8-game lead or something, like you feel pretty good about like how your team did. I get it. Like you still want there to be competition and it to be fun, but come like September, would it be nice to have a comfortable lead where you're not stressed out in September? Yes, there's no doubt about that. But in fairness to any team that does that, they've earned that, because baseball, I mean, it's a grind. That. I mean, it is a grind of a sport. So, but yeah, watching, everybody else compete like really hard is great. You just hope that your own team has a little bit of an easier way to kind of coast into the playoffs a little bit. But, so anyway, so there you go, guys. That was a little bit of some NBA basketball. Hopefully everybody has some fun this week and weekend watching some of the games, and it's going to be an awesome time. If you're a basketball fan, it's an incredible time. If you're a baseball fan and you're excited for the season, everybody wins game 1 and you're on 162 and 0 track. So there's the fun part of that. It's a grueling season with baseball. I love baseball. I grew up watching a lot of it. I know for a lot of people, they can't stand it, or it's like watching paint dry, but I could watch baseball every single day. It'd make my wife mad, but I could do it easily. But just a sport I've always enjoyed. But there you go. I appreciate you guys hanging out for a little while tonight, and everybody in the chat kind of chiming in. It's always fun. I figured this would be one of those things where, I don't want to say off topic, but, something that's maybe not too intriguing for a lot of people, but it's something that I enjoy. I knew Marty would enjoy it. And it's a fun, a fun thing. So Coates, I agree. You gotta,
me too, buddy.
Baseball is one of those things you can plop down for a good 3 hours or so, 2.5 hours now, and just kind of, enjoy the game. So, but anyway, I appreciate everybody for joining tonight. Marty, thanks for kind of last minute invitation and being a willing participant.
Glad to do it, dude. Anytime.
Sorry, your stuff fell apart a little bit.
That's
tonight.
all right. I put in Patreon. She's busy. Nancy's busy and trying to pick great stuff. And I was like, I am not going to interfere with that. So you do your thing, girl. So we'll get Nancy on soon. Me and her are kind of working on some stuff. So we'll see what happens. So no big deal.
Yeah.
Next week I've got the franchise Gary Franchi coming on, so we'll see.
Oh, that'll be a fun one. Talk about some
what kind of train wreck me and Gary can do.
that'll be a lot of fun. So that's like watching a NASCAR race, and you're just building up to who's gonna wreck first, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point, and I may use that Tuesday. So
let's go out on a high note. So what do you got coming? Any reviews or anything? I know you had a little.
I've got a few things. I've got the the barrel double oaked. I think that's a fantastic bottle.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's been beat to death in reviews, but I want to do it again because I'm getting some really good antique notes off that thing with that double oaked. I've got that coming. I'm getting ready to do the Port Charlotte 18 versus last year's 18. I know that's right up your alley, Scott, with that heavy peat. I've got that coming. So we're going to do both of those, see if there's a difference between the two in a blind. Like I said, Gary Franchi's coming on, and then I'm going to be out of town for a little bit, going to Mississippi in April, and then our Puffs and Pours group, we're going to have Greg from Larrikin come on with cigars and whiskey. So we got a lot coming up. So yeah, I'll have everything posted and everything. So, but yeah, guys, Scott, talk about you're releasing the Russells Friday. Right?
So we've got our for the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club. We've got our Russells Reserve single barrels, 2 of those, Tyrone B and Camp Nelson E picks coming this Friday. So you guys will see, and I've been posting stuff in Patreon for those coming. So first drop will be 5:00 Eastern as normal on this Friday. Then I think the following Friday we've got slated to do our backbone, our flux capacitor 2. So I think people have been looking forward to that. So that will be coming. Should hopefully have our Corbin Cash coming. Hopefully our Larceny Barrel Proof, our Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. Hopefully those will be coming before too much longer. We're working on setting up our Jack Daniel's stuff. So hopefully we'll be down there maybe in May-ish, something like that. But always working on things. So appreciate all the support. A lot of good stuff. Marty, thanks again for coming on tonight.
Anytime. Always a pleasure,
thanks everybody for watching in the chat, participating. Can't say thank you enough for all the support. So with that being said, thanks again, guys. We'll see you next Tuesday. And as I say, it's about the journey and not the destination. Cheers. We'll see you next Tuesday. Cheers, guys.